you rewire your brain using a symbol like a sigil? Actually, yes, you can, and in this video I'll explain how. So a sigil is essentially a symbol that means something to you, charged with your emotion, your intent. Of course, from a witchcraft point of view, they've been used for millennia, but there is a very good, sound, psychological and scientific reason for making sigils. And in this video, I'll explain the benefits to you for making your own sigil and why you might want to do it anyway. Even if you're not a wizard, even if you've never delved into the occult before, this isn't an occult thing, this is a science thing. Check this out. So let's talk about the Spare method. It's named after Austin Osman Spare, who recommended that this was a really good way of using psychology to make things happen in your life. Now, historically, this definitely does stem into the occult, but there's a very sound scientific reason for it, and it's that I want to focus on in this video. So Spare recommends that you think of an affirmation almost, a sentence that describes what it is that you want to achieve, like, I am confident during job interviews, for example. I am confident during job interviews can be written down, and once you've written down that statement or that intent or that affirmation, you can then take out all of the vowels, so the A, E, I, O and U. Take those out so you've only got consonants left. Then you start removing any duplicate letters. So it leaves you with M, C, N, D, T, R, V, S. Some people remove the vowels, some people don't. That's an optional step, but I quite like the idea of just removing the vowels because it makes it a little bit easier to do. It should be unreadable to anybody other than you, anybody who doesn't know what the full original sentence is. This is a way of encoding it so that you understand what it is, but nobody else does, even at this point. However, let's go a little bit further. Think of it a bit like making your own logo out of those letters. What we do, we take those letters, we rearrange them, and we create something that looks a little bit like this. Once you've created this, it's like making a logo for your own personal affirmation. And once you've got that logo, you charge it with your intent. You put your energy into it. Now, this is a very witchcrafty explanation for a very psychological principle. By charging this with your emotion, by putting your intent into it from a witchcraft point of view, what you're doing psychologically is charging it with your emotion. You're creating something called a somatic marker that I've talked about previously on this channel. That somatic marker is basically a shortcut in your brain for feeling confident. It's like an anchor, using neurolinguistic programming language. So do you remember the video where I talked about pressing your fingers together like this? It's exactly the same thing. This is just an external focus point for that somatic marker. So what you do, you focus on this sigil while you're in a heightened emotional state. So it might be that you visualize yourself in a very confident situation during that job interview, and then you focus on that sigil. You might meditate on it and then focus on that sigil. You might repeat that affirmation out loud and focus on the sigil. But either way, what you're doing is focusing on that sigil with all of those sorts of emotions going on inside your mind. So that sigil then becomes that shortcut. So you could then get it engraved on a piece of wood and put it in your pocket. You could paint it on a pebble and put it in your pocket. You could carry it around with you, maybe engraved into tin and put it on your necklace or on a ring. All of these sigils don't really mean anything from an occult point of view, but certainly from a psychology point of view, they can be quite powerful. So you might do this in meditation or in trance. All of this sort of stuff allows you to access your unconscious mind. And as I've constantly said on this channel before, your unconscious mind and your whole mind is a lot more powerful than just your conscious mind. Another thing that can happen sometimes is building tension. So imagine that you're going to go to this interview and feel the stresses, feel the emotion of being concerned about it, and then let that concern go because you're not doing the interview right now, and at that moment of release, charge the sigil. Anything with emotion attached to it can charge that sigil, and this is one of the ways that sex magic gets involved as well. At the time of orgasm, charge the sigil. So the goal is to bypass the conscious mind by only focusing on unconscious thought. So you don't obsess or second guess, you just charge the sigil with emotion. Just let your unconscious mind do all of the work in the background, and this is one of the key points and actually can be quite difficult to let go. If you're very cerebral, very in your head, you will probably think, well, this is a bit silly, and it's your conscious mind trying to get in the way, trying to take over, trying to take control of a situation that ultimately you have no control over anyway. So what you can then do is to allow your unconscious mind to take over, trust your unconscious mind, trust your body, trust all of your instincts that this is going to work, and it will. will. And I'm not talking about magic and the occult, I'm talking about pure psychology. By believing that this is going to work, it's going to work in a similar way to the placebo effect, linked up here. The thing is, the brain loves repetition and it loves symbols, and especially the unconscious mind. It reinforces belief and behaviour just by having something abstract to focus on. So the key point here really is that you know what it is unconsciously, even if you don't know what this weird logo is consciously. Is kind of the point. You need to make things abstract enough that your unconscious mind can still decode it, that it means something to your brain, but it doesn't mean anything consciously. Studies show that visualization boosts goal achievement, which is why a lot of people on the internet now, especially about manifestation, talk about vision boards and constantly having these visions in your mind. They do work and they are very useful, and maybe I will do a video about that. If you do want me to do a video, by the way, about vision boards, let me know down in the comments. You see, symbols act as a shortcut, as a mental trigger. It allows you to let go and stops your conscious mind just from interfering. This is known as cognitive interference, and it's definitely something you want to get away from if you want to achieve something fairly abstract, like being confident in a job interview. So this is similar to a visual affirmation. You've heard of affirmations and you've probably even said or written them down before, but this is a visual affirmation, and it will constantly trigger your mind to go, ah yeah, that's the thing that I want to achieve. So try that yourself, create your own sigil, and let me know how it goes down in the comments. And in the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, ding that bell. All of that stuff really helps out my channel. And if you want to watch this sort of video before everybody else, consider becoming a member for only £1.99 a month, and then all the links are down in the description. If you want to find out all about rituals, have a look at this video. I'm going to be back next time with some more magical awesomeness. But until next time, as always,
Stay magical.